So the point being, because the more serious crimes, he was acquitted on the more serious crimes, that opens the window that the Trump administration now feels it wouldn't be as bad there wouldn't be as much backlash. Pardon him.
It's part of it.
They weren't just two big names brushing past each other in celebrity circles. Donald Trump and Sean Diddy Combs were mainstays at the same VIP events, clasping hands at charity galas, sharing prime tables at Manhattan's most exclusive hotspots, and exchanging knowing nods across dimly lit corners at parties where champagne never stopped flowing. Cameras loved catching the mid-laugh, locked in an effortless display of wealth and influence. Trump publicly applauded Diddy's grind, while Diddy tipped his hat to Trump's larger-than-life flair. To the outside world,
I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
And it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office, and he made some terrible statements.
They were two titans with a shared instinct for commanding any room, which is exactly why their eventual falling out hit like a bomb. Now, the warmth has vanished, replaced by a snub so sharp it's slicing through political and entertainment headlines alike. Trump isn't just refusing to help an old acquaintance. He's signaling that it's fine with the toughest sentence possible for the music mogul, who's already staring down 2 decades behind bars on transportation for-pay charges. On News AX, his words carry that unmistakable cocktail of personal grudge and political maneuvering. "It makes it more difficult to do," he said, recalling the times that it took shots at getting him out of office. The message was clear. A friendship has morphed into a vendetta, and Trump is more than ready to play executioner. For those who remember their playful back and forth, the reversal feels like prime-time drama. Not long ago, the Bad Boy Records founder was still being name-dropped in interviews, part of that glossy intersection between hip-hop royalty and Trump's reality star-turned-president image. But once Diddy turned his platform into a megaphone against Trump, declaring in 2020 that white men like him needed to be banished, the temperature dropped to ice. And if Trump heard those words, which he almost certainly did, he's been stockpiling them like ammunition. Behind the curtain, whispers paint an even murkier picture. Industry insiders claim Trump's hardline stance isn't just revenge for political jabs. It's tangled in a so-called revenge pact tied to Diddy's ex, Cassie. Her bombshell accusations of abuse and coercion triggered the dominoes that led to federal charges. Publicly, Trump could frame himself as a champion for victims. Privately, it looked like the perfect chance to take down an enemy who crossed him. Was this sudden moral posture sincere, or just a calculated move to knock a rival out of the game? The intrigue doesn't stop there. Some link Trump's refusal to grant a pardon to something far darker, the Epstein factor. While rumors of Diddy's presence at Epstein's infamous gatherings have never been proven, the similarities between their scandals, both laced with whispers of leverage, illicit parties, and high-profile guests, have conspiracy board in overdrive. Trump, himself long scrutinized over alleged Epstein ties, might be using this moment to create distance. By pushing Diddy toward the harsh glare of a maximum sentence, the message is unmistakable. Whatever went down at those parties, Diddy's on his own.
If the October 3rd, if the judge denies bail, then Trump is going to make a decision possibly immediately thereafter. Most likely, the judge is going to, based on previous decisions, it feels like the judge is going to.
The irony is hard to miss. This is the same Donald Trump who's handed out pardons like party favors to political allies, overturned convictions, and railed endlessly against what he calls a corrupt justice system. Yet here he is, staring at a former friend whose crimes on paper are lighter than the rumors swirling in the press, and instead of mercy, he's delivering what looks like pure political payback. It's almost theatrical. The one-time apprentice host now playing judge, jury, and executioner against a man who once stood beside him in matching tailored suits and mirrored shades. The timing only stokes the fire. Just days before Trump doubled down on keeping Diddy locked up, the Justice Department slammed the brakes on releasing more Epstein files, insisting no incriminating client list existed. That didn't slow the conspiracy crowd, who quickly drew parallels. Both men accused of hosting elaborate, freak-off-style gatherings. Both cases ending with less than the public demanded. Both leaving a trail of unanswered questions. The difference? Diddy still has a sentencing date ahead, and Trump is in the perfect position to tip the scales. For Trump, granting a pardon here would be political suicide. Another Epstein on his record would be a nightmare, especially with a GOP already bleeding support among female voters, many of them young conservatives who aren't exactly Trump loyalists. And the optics couldn't be worse. Everyone's seen the tape of Diddy beating Cassie. Add to that the sudden firing of Maureen Comey, daughter of Trump's old FBI nemesis, after she worked on both the Diddy and Epstein cases, followed by her ominous warning about fear corrupting justice. Whether coincidence or calculated move, the visuals are pure gasoline on a roaring fire of suspicion. When Trump talks about releasing everything on Epstein while refusing to lift a finger for Diddy, the line between justice, revenge, and self-preservation vanishes. His supporters spin it as proof he won't bend for old friends if the law says otherwise. His critics say it's selective mercy. Some allies walk free, others like Diddy get iced out. For Diddy, it's a double betrayal, the fight for his freedom now tangled in a political feud that's clearly personal. They worked together once, long ago. They're enemies now. And 50 Cent? He's been taking shots every time Diddy's down. Which leaves one burning question. Was Trump ever truly Diddy's friend, or was his showdown inevitable the moment their ambitions stopped aligning? Those glossy images of them laughing together now look more like the setup to a twist ending no one expected. The countdown to October is ticking. The courtroom where Diddy will learn his fate feels smaller by the day, and the echoes between his downfall and Jeffrey Epstein's implosion are impossible to ignore. Both men built empires from scratch, clawing their way into rarefied circles where presidents, royalty, and Hollywood elites mingled over private dinners and whispered invites. Both projected untouchable influence until the walls started closing in. And in the end, both men were hauled into federal courtrooms, their fame transformed into evidence against them. The fact that Diddy's conviction landed just days after Trump abruptly closed the book on the Epstein files sent the rumor mill into overdrive. Was it coincidence or a perfectly timed diversion? Look at Diddy, some voices urged. He's got videos, he's got tapes of the parties. Behind the scenes, whispers from attorneys, agents, and insiders suggest there's even a bidding war for what he allegedly holds. And in the entertainment world, some quietly wonder if Diddy's trial was a convenient smokescreen for the administration's Epstein pivot. We all remember the outrage when the Justice Department claimed there was no incriminating Epstein client list, a gut punch to those promised transparency. Yet, while headlines feasted on Diddy's verdict, the missing minute of Epstein's cell footage was dismissed with a shrug about outdated cameras. The parallels are unsettling. Two high-profile men accused of catering to elite indulgences, both ending their trials with less accountability than expected, both leaving behind questions that won't go away. And layered into this timeline is a firing of Maureen Comey, the prosecutor tied to both cases. Comey wasn't just another name in the docket. She had navigated the most shadowy corners of Epstein's investigation while simultaneously pressing charges in Diddy's case. Then, without warning, she's gone, her parting message warning that fear is the tyrant's favorite weapon. It doesn't take a tinfoil hat to ask, what did she see that made her expendable? Her last name has long been a sore point for Trump since he axed her father from the FBI, and this White House has a track record of replacing prosecutors who poke at the wrong cases. With the Epstein files still sensitive and Diddy's civil cases looming, the optics couldn't be hotter. If Comey stumbled across links, overlapping guest lists, mutual associates, shared financial trails, her removal might have been less about politics and more about prevention. But prevention of what? That's a question that keeps people awake at night. For months, whispers have swirled about a pardon list, a mental roster of high-profile names Trump could dangle before the press to steer the national conversation. On the surface, his public musings about clemency for Diddy or Ghislaine Maxwell seemed erratic, but seasoned media watchers say it was calculated. In this theory, the pardon talk was never meant to be real. It was bait, a controlled explosion designed to hijack headlines, then fizzle out. Each time Trump floated a controversial name, it was like tossing a lit match into a room full of gasoline fumes. The people on that list weren't chosen for innocence or guilt, but for their ability to dominate the news cycle, burying stories the administration wanted forgotten. The timing says it all. Maxwell pardon chatter spiked just as Attorney General Pam Bondi backpedaled on releasing the Epstein files, and Trump's brief flirtation with helping Diddy came the same week the missing minute of Epstein's cell footage resurfaced. The overlap is too precise to ignore. The idea that these pardon teasers were coordinated distractions, using celebrity scandal as a shield against deeper, more dangerous inquiries, leaves one conclusion. This wasn't coincidence at all. And just like with Jeffrey Epstein, the truth is buried somewhere beneath the noise, hidden in plain sight while the public chases a spectacle. The thing about the Epstein theory is, we already know he filmed people on that island, in those mansions, capturing some of the most powerful political figures, celebrities, and business titans on tape. So, do you really believe Jeffrey Epstein was acting alone? Of course not. If true, that means the so-called pardon list wasn't a mercy play at all. It was a smokescreen. Every time Trump dangled a high-profile name, the conversation shifted from who in power was tangled up with Epstein to will Trump sign the pardon. An easy yes or no hook for the media, but one that kept eyes off the deeper web of connections a full investigation might uncover. That's the brilliance and danger of the strategy. By keeping the nation guessing over something as emotionally charged as a celebrity pardon, Trump may have made sure the most explosive parts of the Epstein saga never reached critical mass. If the theory holds, the pardon list wasn't about helping friends or scaring enemies. It was about moving the public's attention like a chess piece, placing it exactly where he needed it, exactly when he needed it. Meanwhile, indictments lagged, with officials citing the time needed to comb through forensic evidence. Whispers say the Epstein materials, or sealed testimony from Diddy's trial, hold names that could scorch reputations in Hollywood, finance, and Washington. Trump's defenders argue he's just being cautious, avoiding damage to innocent people. His critics point out innocent is a flexible word when the gatekeeper is the same man deciding who gets pardoned and who gets the cold shoulder. If Diddy knows anything about the connections being whispered about, the clock is ticking on how long he can keep it quiet. His October sentencing looms large, and federal guidelines are ruthless. A man with nothing to lose might decide to speak about people, places, and events the public has only guessed at. If even half the rumors of his ties to Epstein-linked gatherings are true, his testimony could blow apart alliances that have survived untouched for years. That kind of fallout wouldn't stop at the red carpet. It could shake boardrooms, topple campaigns, and pull figures into the light who have spent years dodging subpoenas. But speaking out comes with a price. The Epstein case is littered with vanished records, silenced witnesses, and timelines that don't add up. Diddy's insider knowledge could command global attention, but it could also put a target on his back. And with Trump openly framing him as undeserving of clemency, the protective shield of powerful friends is gone. If this is a larger chess match, Diddy might be the pawn just realizing the king is ready to sacrifice him. Now, the early days of the Diddy trial are already leaking ugliness. Surprise, surprise, here's a creep. Surprise, surprise, there are horrors in his history. And in the end, the picture is volatile, a president who never forgets an insult, a disgraced mogul who keeps receipts, and a prosecutor who may have been pushed out before she could connect the last dots. Every piece is in play, but the full image remains blurred. The most dangerous question left hanging? If Diddy talks, does he only bring down his own empire, or does the blast take out Trump, the Epstein network, and the untouchable few still hiding in the shadows?